Welcome to NACTV Reads the News. My name is Gwen Jacobsen, and I'm one of many volunteers that help create programming for our station. NACTV can be seen on MTS Channel 30 or 1030, Westband Cable Channel 17, Bell Satellite Channel 592, or online at nactv.tv. These programs are made possible by our volunteers, staff, advertisers, as well as donations made by you, the viewers. If you are enjoying your NACTV experience, please consider supporting us by either donation or volunteering. You can contact our office at 204-476-2639 or at nactv@wcgwave.ca. This week's edition of the Neepawa Banner and Press is dated Friday, September the 6th, 2024. Now you'll have to bear with me today because something happened to the press during the night, and this isn't the way I usually read the paper, but it's a little bit of a smaller one. So it's smaller printing. On the front page, it's a picture of our new Harris Pharmacy that's going to be opening soon by Casper Werhan. A much anticipated project is nearing completion in Neepawa. As readers take in this article, work continues and finishes touches are being made at the brand new Harris Pharmacy building at 366 Mountain Avenue. The Neepawa Banner and Press had the opportunity to speak with the owner, Heather Toderick, for an update on the morning of August the 27th. September 23rd is our planned opening date, said Toderick. Some inside finishing work is to be done, and the front steps and accessibility ramp. Toderick added, everyone on staff is helping to plan the move, and we've had so many offers to help from the community. Everyone is very excited about the project and to see the final product when we open. Signage for the new location was originally scheduled to be put up on the week of the interview, but was delayed. As of the addition of this paragraph on September 3rd, the new signage is now up. And it continues to say, this build was first announced in the February 24th, 2023 edition of the Neepawa Banner and Press, with construction officially beginning in mid-2023. This newly constructed facility is estimated to be just under 6,000 square feet, approximately 800 square feet larger than the existing location at 424 Mountain Avenue. In addition to the extra space, the new building is anticipated to have an improved flow of customer traffic and overall layout, new dispensary counters and shelving units, larger greeting card location, and checkout space. Also of benefit to Harris Pharmacy at this location are its 4 private consultation/immunization rooms. With the opening date drawing ever near, Toderick shared her thoughts on the journey so far. It's been a long process. I'm happy to see it come to a close and get the move happening. We've had a few hiccups, but with all of the great tradesmen and helpers I have had, we have worked our way through, Toderick enthused. A huge thanks to my staff and all the trades that have worked on the project. There were days I was unsure we'd get to the end, but it looks like we're going to make it. Further news in regards to a grand opening celebration for the 366 Mountain Avenue Harris Pharmacy location is expected to follow in a future edition of the Neepawa Banner and Press. So this is the workers setting up the Pharma Choice sign. All right. Next, semi-trailer hops curve and runs over fire hydrant. The town of Neepawa is looking for answers after a fire hydrant was found in unusual condition on August the 29th. Official details provided by the town on the next day, August 30th, stated that sometime between 9:40 p.m., a vehicle hopped the curb at 3rd Avenue and Ellen Street, hitting the hydrant and running it over, uprooting it and leaving it lying on the side in the aftermath. The town received the first report of the damages at 9:42 p.m. that evening. And here we see a picture of the knocked off fire hydrant. This is the curb, and this is the tracks of the semi-truck that went right over the fire hydrant. It's confirmed that it was a semi-truck, said Manager of Operation Denis Sakwe. White Volvo is all we know at this time, with a full 52 to 53 foot trailer. Nobody has come forward with a company name or anything like that. Sakwe added, it appears the truck went northbound on 4th Avenue, then turned on Ellen and went southbound. Because they jumped the curve and they crossed the driveway of a house on the corner of 4th. Oh dear. The vehicles of the homeowner were reported to have not been damaged. RCMP have been made aware of the incident and assigned it a case number. Anyone with information regarding this incident, including door cam footage if possible, is asked to either call the town of Neepawa or the RCMP. The town office can be reached at 204-476-7600, and the local RCMP can be reached via their non-emergency line at 204-476-7340. As of the meeting with Sakwe on August 30th, the extent of damages to the damaged hydrant was still being evaluated. Most fire hydrants are very difficult to knock over, as they are made from solid iron castings and weigh a couple hundred pounds. Additionally, they are attached by a ring of bolts to a 9-foot cast iron standpipe that goes 8 feet below ground. The whole assembly in some cases can weigh close to a ton. It could be as little as a couple $1,000, and it could be, worst case, up to $20,000, said Sakwe. He noted that the hydrant assembly also includes breakaway flanges. If these flanges were able to work the way they were designed, it is expected it will be a low-end cost to fix. However, depending on if it was damaged further, that may not be the case. If the truck damaged the hydrant barrel further when they drove over the broken hydrant and the whole barrel has to be changed, then we're looking at a full hydrant replacement. What does this mean for taxpayers? Well, firstly, Sakwe noted that the town must determine if it is worthwhile to file an insurance claim. If the damage is high-end and a claim is able to be pursued, there would be edict costs associated with the process that taxpayers would need to pay. Alternatively, if the driver of the truck were to file a claim with MPI, MPI would pay for damages done to the hydrant. Obviously, there's an increased lack of service if there was a fire. If we do still have fire hydrants in the proximity, but it would be a little bit more work for the fire department if there was an accident. Staff time too. The repair will probably take us half a day to a day. The town does have hydrant parts on hand to aid with the fix. Once again, if anyone has information about this incident, they are asked to come forward and reach out to either the Neepawa Town Office or the Neepawa RCMP. Now, at the Roxy Theatre coming up this weekend, September 6th and 7th, the show being on is called Deadpool and Wolverine. Deadpool is offered a place in the Marvel Cinematic Universe by the Time Variance Authority, but instead recruits a variant of Wolverine to save his universe from extinction. It's rated 14A, and the show starts at 7:30. The weekend after that, the show is called Borderlands. All right, come back to these, I think. All right. Beautiful Plains Museum History. Beautiful Plains Ag Society by Casper Warehan. The Beautiful Plains Agricultural Society, hosted in the Neepawa community under Charter Number 12, was formed in 1882. Wow! At that time, it was known as the Dauphin Agricultural Society. It was renamed to the Beautiful Plains Agricultural Society sometime in 1886, when a reorganizational meeting for the group was held. The society accepted an offer from the town of Neepawa in May of 1889 for land on Southwest 331415 behind the present curling rink. And in March of 1890, plans and specifications were being discussed for an agricultural hall, which was to be 50 feet by 60 feet. This property and the society's interests were sold to the CNR in July of 1902 for $2,500. After this, the Ag Society again approached the town of Neepawa to obtain new grounds. In conjunction with this, the Minister of Interior was approached in regards to a free permit to cut timber for lumber for the construction of livestock barns for the Society's use. The permit was granted on February 25th, 1903, to cut 100,000 feet of lumber. Around that same time, a motion as passed at a meeting to apply to the government for a letter of incorporation as a joint stock company under the name Neepawa Industrial and Agricultural Association of Northwestern Manitoba. Later, at another meeting, another motion was passed for the Beautiful Plains Agricultural Society to transfer assets to the Northwestern Agriculture and Arts Association. Later in 1905, the purchase of the current ag grounds in Neepawa from a Mr. Coswell was made. For an unknown reason, in 1918, the society changed its name back to the Beautiful Plains Agricultural Society. And there's a picture here. It's pretty small, but it's an unspecified year. But here are some of the Beautiful Plains Agricultural Society's members. They are from left to right: Stephen Benson, William Habkirk, Mr. Lindsay, Donald Carmichael, William Pollock, Goodwin Kilburn, James Hall, Nora Benson, and Robert Arnold. So some of those last names are still in and around the Neepawa area. So, out of Helen's kitchen, this week Helen is talking about sharing the fruits of one. Sharing the fruits of one's labor with neighbors and friends is the heart of gardening. My mom introduced me to gardening when I was very young. As we gardened, the stories she told of what her parents and grandparents grew connected me to gardening and certain plants. There was some of the not so fun stuff too, like the weeding, which seemed never ending. That aspect seemed to be soon forgotten when you ate your first meal of fresh corn or tomatoes, etc. People often say to me, "Why do you put so much work into gardening when you can buy the fruits and veggies at the store?" Well, gardening is a journey filled with challenges, surprises, fresh air, vitamin D, exercise, and connecting with nature every day. It's about getting your hands dirty, nurturing life, and the satisfaction of growing your own fruits and vegetables that are chemical-free. It's about the pleasure I feel when I pick a ripe tomato or bite into a freshly harvested cucumber. When it comes to eating vegetables, your mom was right. They're good for you. Vegetables are a staple food across the world and are an important part of agriculture. They're low in calories, high in nutrients. However, no single fruit or vegetable provides all the nutrients you need every day. Variety in vegetables is the key. And she goes on to have 2 recipes: garden harvest casserole. And vegetable stew. Yummers. All right, last week we had these pictures of the mobility scooter safety course, but it didn't have the article written, so we have that this week by Owen Devereaux. The rules of the road and the sidewalks apply to everyone, and a large group of local seniors recently received a bit of a refresher course on those rules and how they apply to mobility scooters. On Monday, August 26th, Home Assistance Neepawa District, or HAND, conducted a mobility scooter safety demonstration. The hour-long seminar was held at the Bell MTS parking lot next to Hamilton Street and featured representatives from HAND, Brandon Mobility, and the RCMP. To go along with the sharing of information, there was also a small driving course set up in the parking lot for operators to use their scooters and learn some safety tips. Terry Smith assisted with the organization of the event. He told the Banner and Press that he felt a refresher on the importance of treating these types of vehicles as vehicles was very important. I've had a scooter now for about 5 years, and I'm concerned about promoting safety, said Smith. I contacted Michelle Kasprick, and I said, Michelle, I think we need something for seniors on safety and what they should be doing to operate these type of vehicles in a safe manner, not just for themselves, but for everyone. Michelle Kasprick, the Seniors Resource Coordinator for HAND, was instrumental in organizing the speakers. She said it was very important to update everyone who owns and operates these types of machines on more than just the basics of operation. This was, I believe, very important to do. I think it was a necessary event because I have noticed a lot more of these types of scooters being used around Neepawa. So some reassurance was needed. And I think it's always good to go over the rules and the safety features. Kasprick also added that there was valuable information shared related to the maintenance and care procedures for a scooter. As for the number of attendees, Kasprick noted that having 21 people take the time to come out to the seminar indicates that it had tremendous local value. Scott Woods Band to perform in Neepawa. This is Scott Woods as seen at a 2023 show in Neepawa by Casper Wareham. Residents and visitors to Neepawa should prepare their stomp and shoes this month. On September 22nd at 7 p.m., the Roxy Theatre will once again be host to the musical styling of the Scott Woods Band. Scott Woods is a veteran fiddler hailing from Fergus, Ontario, and is credited with multiple national commendations and has made almost annual returns to Neepawa since approximately 2010. The occasion of Scott Woods and the company's return in 2024 is that of their Yeehaw tour. Commenting on behalf of the band, Woods told the Banner and Press that the team is excited to come to Neepawa for this latest show. Neepawa is a very welcoming town. The Friendly Manitoba slogan on the license plates must have been because of the folks in Neepawa, said Woods. We always have such a great time, and it is such a joy to play in the historic Roxy Theatre. There is a reverence that performers get on that stage, which is exciting and adds an extra bit of adrenaline to the performance. Yeehaw is roughly based on a television show known as Hee Haw, which ran from 1969 to 1997. Woods explained that while they won't try to recreate the actual TV show, Yee Haw will certainly draw from it, that and more. We will lovingly remember some of the cast and the iconic comedic bits that happened throughout the show, said Woods. But we go a little bit further and add and also recognize and remember some of the Canadian icons in country music. Stompin' Tom Connors, Tommy Hunter, and fiddlers like Don Messer, Al Cherney, and Graham Townsend. Woods added, we have a mix of fiddle tunes, step dancing, and lots of traditional country music, and of course some corny humor and silly costumes mixed in for good measure. We also have an inspirational story and several sincere and serious moments. The 2024 performance also sees the return of Woods' sister, Kendra Norris, playing the piano, fiddle, and singing, reigning two-time Canadian step dance champion Leo Stock on the drums, fiddle, vocal, and step dancing, and Steve Pitko on lead guitar. Pitko is described by Woods as a true guitar virtuoso, with an ability to play rhythm, lead fills, and even make his guitar sound like a pedal steel guitar. This band is also welcoming a brand new addition for this show in the personage of Kirk Bernard, who will be filling out the band's sound on bass and vocals. A true Canadian legend, this is Kirk's first tour with the Scott Woods Band, but I have toured Europe with him and Steve in the past, and he lives up to all the hype, said Woods. Kirk sings from the heart, and you feel the emotion in every song. Attendees can also expect to see Woods' signature trick fiddling routine. They call me the flippin' fiddler, and I will be playing with a broom or coat hanger instead of a bow, playing behind my back and walking on a barrel, and of course doing my famous front running flip somersault, said Woods. Sharing a final comment, Woods stated, we look forward to rolling into town with our big old bus. My dog Sandy still travels with us, and although we work hard and perform almost every day, we have 59 shows in 6 provinces in 72 days on this tour. We feel so lucky to be among friends when we get to Neepawa. Tickets and a full tour schedule are available from the Scott Woods Band office at 1-855-726-8896 or online at www.scottwoods.ca. Tickets can also be purchased locally at the Neepawa Banner and Press Office at 423 Mountain Avenue in Neepawa, available with cash only. Now we have a great sports event to talk about, Building a Local Golf Legacy by Owen Devereaux. Mark Kerkowich, shown here in this picture, has just etched his name onto the Neepawa Golf and Country Club's NGCC Rosebowl trophy for a record-breaking 6th time. Kerkowich secured the victory in the championship flight of the club's annual match play event on Monday, September 2nd, by defeating Colby Day. With this latest win, Mark surpasses the previous record of 5 wins, which he co-held with Westman golf legend Dwight Kearns of the Shiloh Country Club. This is the 3rd win in the last 4 years for Mark, who also won 3 of 4 Rose Bowl events between 2014 and 2017. The Rose Bowl tournament is played every year over the course of the Labor Day weekend, with this year's being the 62nd edition of the prestigious Westman Golf event. The 3-day event uses the match play scoring system, which consists of individual holes won, halved, or lost. On each hole, the most that can be gained is 1 point. As for what the historic accomplishment means to him, Kerkowich told the Banner and Press right after his win that it was a pretty cool feeling. I have obviously heard just how good Dwight Kearns was back in the day and how many he won. So 6 was on my mind, and I was fortunate over the weekend and was able to pull out the win, said Kerkowich. As for the event itself, it was a lot of fun. This style of play creates a different type of challenge for all the golfers out there. I was just fortunate. There are some very good players from Brandon and obviously Neepawa and Minnedosa who were out there this year. So yeah, just pretty humbled that I was able to go out there and win. Kerkowich's journey to a 6th Rose Bowl win was not an easy one, as he was paired against the 2019 champion Al Hart on the first day. Mark was able to claim the win and move forward to face Ross Sheard of Brandon on Saturday, September 1st. After defeating Sheard, Kerkowich would finish off the long weekend beating Colby Day from Brandon. Kerkowich said there were a few moments out there over the weekend where it could have gone wrong, but that he was able to adjust and overcome the adversity. I'd say that the round on Sunday sticks out in my mind. I didn't have the best of starts, and it took some time to find my game out there, but I was able to putt well enough, and that made up for the fact I needed a few holes to find my swing. I managed the course as best I could. Neepawa Golf and Country Club General Manager and CPGA Golf Pro Landon Cameron congratulated Kerkowich on this historic win. He also added that Mark's golf skill, combined with his knowledge of the course, will ensure he's likely the player to beat for years to come. Unreal, actually, what Kerkowich has been able to do. He's a great golfer, and he's really tough to beat out here. He knows every blade of grass out there, and on top of that, he's a gamer, and in that he gets up to play against skilled opponents, stated Cameron. To win 6 in just over a decade in that short amount of time is unbelievable. The style of play for the Rose Bowl, it's an endurance test for a golfer, both physically and mentally. For Mark to win as convincingly as he did just shows you how dominant Mark has been, and though looks as though he'll continue to be for years to come. Cameron also commended Mark, who is also the golf course's ground superintendent, and the rest of the maintenance staff for keeping the course in top tier shape over the last few weeks of constant activity. And it goes on just to mention the Neepawa Golf and Country Club Rose Bowl champions from the last decade, 2014 to 2024. 2014 and 15, Mark Kerkowich won. 2016, it was Mike Evenson. 2017, again, Mark Kerkowich. 2018, Kenny Keeler. 2019, Al Hart. 2020, Taylor Fletcher. 2021 and 22, it was Mark Kerkowich. Last year, it was Evan Naudigal. And again, Mark Kerkowich was this year's champion. So way to go, Mark. Also with sports, the Neepawa Dolphins out in force for final meet. The meet in Neepawa was the final meet of the season, held on Sunday, August 19th. The Dolphins had a full team out for the finals. All participants swam hard in all races. Riley Wilson was the top swimmer for Neepawa, with firsts in all 5 of her races. As well, Cammie Smith captured 4 gold out of 5 races, and Crossan ended up tied for top point getter for the season in the 13 and 14 girls. This came a few days later after some confusion concerning allowed races with Swim Manitoba. All in all, it was a great season of sunny weather for the meets held outdoors. There were many standout performances from the Blue Dolphins and a great contingent of volunteers to bring the season to another successful end. Once again, the Dolphins had sensational performances from Alyssa, Ashley, and Austin Nadeau, but as they participate in winter swim with Brandon, then their times, place, and team points do not count. Other Neepawa participants whose placing did not count, as they were unable to participate in the previous 3 swim meets, were Felix and Charlie Carefoot and Benjamin Wahosky. Now here's some pictures of several local baseball players involved in the Manitoba Summer Games that was in Dauphin. More positive local results from the recent Manitoba Summer Games in Dauphin, as Neepawa baseball players Kellen Hawken, Jude Carr, and Jaden Ford were selected for Team West. Hawken, pictured here, was part of West number 1, who ended up claiming the silver medal in the tournament. Jude Carr, and Jaden Ford, pictured here and here, meanwhile, played for the West number 2 squad. Congratulations to these local players, as well as Kevin Elliott from Carberry, Dawson Smart from Carberry, Reed Klim from Minnedosa, Everett Yando from Plumas, and Jordan Knox from Carberry for their selections and efforts over the course of the Summer Games. And there's the 2, West number 1 and number 2. All right. Yeah. Town of Neepawa Council Update, Tuesday, September the 3rd, by Owen Devereaux. It was back to the regular routine for the town of Neepawa on Tuesday, September 3rd, with the return of council meetings on every first and third Tuesday of the month. During the summer months of July and August, only one assembly of council is held each month. In this first gathering of September, the agenda was relatively light, but still had enough notable items that will be impactful to the community, including the following. First, from Yvonne Sisley. She informed fellow council members of the positive numbers registered for the 2024 summer day camps. The 8-week program just recently concluded and saw 553 participants for the season, with the majority of weeks being sold out. As well, Sisley mentioned the closure of the Neepawa swimming pool for the season as of Sunday, September 1st. The facility was consistently used throughout the summer, with the local swim club, bronze cross, and medallion courses, as well as lifeguard training. In total, 750 children received swimming lessons. The pavers around the pool were cemented this year, while the grassy area north of the water slide will be assessed in the near future. If that section does end up being paved over, the reason would be due to some issues with water flooding, causing that area to get very muddy. The water wheelchair purchased for the pool will also require the purchase of specialty life jackets to go with it. 4 of the 12 bat houses that were recently built by Neepawa's Man Shed are still available for sponsorship. The consulting group, Your Town Rising, will be making a presentation in Neepawa on September the 12th. The gathering is open to the public and will be in the back room of the public library at 7 p.m. What's the Big Idea is set for October 17th at the Legion. Sisley concluded her report by expressing gratitude to Nicole Cooper and her time as Neepawa's Director of Recreation Services. Cooper has stepped down from the position and is being replaced by Cassandra Green. Next, Jason Nadeau. He discussed the latest meeting of the board for Westlake Employment Skills and Services. He notified council that the expectation is that funding they receive from the province will not go up this year. Westlake has been lobbying for an increase to assist with inflationary expenditure increases. Westlake is requesting a letter of support from the town to aid with expressing the need to the province. Next, Lisa Pottinger. She attended the Yellowhead Centre board meeting and reported back to council that it is hoped that the ice could be ready for use by September 11th. For an older facility such as the Yellowhead, a specific process needs to be followed to ensure proper installation. The Yellowhead also expressed its appreciation to the town on partnering with them on some of the summer programming that took place. Pottinger concluded by notifying council that the Yellowhead Centre is down one heating and cooling unit, and that will be a notable expenditure the volunteer operated facility will need to deal with in the near future. Next, Marika Kostenchuk. She reported that the recent Home Assistant Neepawa and District Barbecue was able to raise $1,523 with a net profit of $1,048 after expenses. That funding helps with operation of the organization. Next was the new business. The route of the Neepawa and District Chamber of Commerce Santa Parade was approved by council. The route will begin at the Yellowhead Centre, then traveling south along Mountain Avenue before turning east at Davidson to Brown. From there, it will go from Brown to Hamilton. The parade is set for November the 23rd. Initial plans for the development of 320 acres of land in the northwest section of Neepawa have been approved. The town has been speaking with consultants on the matter. Phase 1 will immediately target housing and include 47 acres west of the Public Works yard, as well as a further 11 acres that combine that with that directly to the north. Administration recommended to council to hire Season Blackburn Consulting Incorporated and Associated Engineering, a pair of firms based out of Winnipeg, to aid with the overall planning and engineering work. Associated will be brought on at a cost of $86,534, while the SBC deal is for $112,400. The SBC amount may be less, however, as certain assistance provided by the town of Neepawa's administration could be a factor. Council approved the recommendations. St. Rose Farmer declared Hometown Roots Contest winner. Oh, and here is the winning photograph right here. A St. Rose area farmer is to be congratulated this week. The individual in question is Shelley Brunel, who had the honor of being declared the Manitoba winner of Lallemand Inc.'s 2024 Hometown Roots Photo Contest on September the 4th. The contest was put on for select locations in Canada and the US, with Brunel being one of 3 Canadian winners declared, the others being from Alberta and Saskatchewan. As reward for Brunel's win, she was able to select any hometown organization of her choice to receive a $5,000 donation from the company. The project Brunel selected was one very close to the community, but her family as well. In statements provided within a press release provided by Lallemand, Brunel shared her excitement to give back. Our son started the court project with his friend, They saw a need for a basketball court in the community. With this donation from Lalamand, we are hoping to finish the final phase of adding lighting to the court to make it a safer space youth can use long after dark. Brunel added, "The youth in our town are very excited about it. Thank you, Lalamand. This donation means a lot to our community." The Hometown Roots contest was conceptualized in 2021 and launched in 2022 by Lalamand in order to support rural communities by giving back to community-based organizations and projects. The contest welcomes participants from select locations within Canada and the USA each year. The participants are required to have a connection to commercial agriculture and be legally considered an adult in their province or state. For 2024, it had evolved into a photography contest, which invited each participant to capture and share the true spirit of agriculture in their communities. The contest had opened in November of 23 and ran through July 24, with each participant able to submit one photo per week with a short description of how it makes their community or farm special. Since the Hometown Roots inception, Lalamand has awarded 20 participants in Canada and the US, resulting in a total of $100,000 in donations. As a family-owned business, this contest allows us to continue our tradition of giving back to the communities that have supported us, said Anne Favre, Lalamand Plant Care's Strategic Marketing Director for USA and Canada. We're proud of this initiative and are thrilled to have selected a winner who truly captured the essence of what this photo contest was about. Manitoba government funding new waste disposal site in St. Rose. The Manitoba government is investing $475,000 through the Municipal Economic Development Infrastructure Program toward the construction of a new waste disposal site in the municipality of St. Rose. Municipal and Northern Relations Minister Ian Bushy announced on Friday, August 30th. This new piece of critical infrastructure will expand waste management operations for the area and benefit the whole community of residents and businesses. We're proud to invest and support long-term economic growth for the St. Rose area. The Manitoba government's investment into the new site aligns with municipal plans and supports effective waste management to support environmental sustainability and future economic growth. Additional benefits: future road construction to improve access to the main highway, and a regional recreation center to serve the local community and 2 neighboring municipalities, the minister noted. The project is currently in early development with design and tender details still to be determined. Construction is expected to be completed by 2027. We're excited to see this important project move forward to provide a new modern site for solid waste management disposal for the municipality of St. Rose, said Mayor Robert Brunel, Municipality of St. Rose. We're currently working with an engineering firm to design and engineer an appropriate site and look forward to the next steps in this project. The Municipal Economic Development Infrastructure Program is an application-based program designed to foster economic growth and opportunities for Manitoba municipalities through shared property projects that address current and emerging infrastructure needs. The program supports immediate advancement and implementation of critical infrastructure projects under the key investment themes of economic development, renewal, and innovation. Right, I think I'm going to go back and read Here. All right. Homebodies by Rita Friesen. This week it's called The Old Outhouse. The reality is that not many truly remember the regular use of an outdoor bathroom. I am truly feeling my age. There are those of you who recall the privacy at the cottage or one at a rest stop while traveling, but I'm thinking about the one that was used every day, many times a day, before indoor plumbing. The descriptions of homes on the market these days often advertise 2 full baths, 1.5 bath at the more modest, right up to as many bathrooms as there are bedrooms. The full definition of privilege. I'm thinking about back when having a solid wooden structure in the backyard that had a door that could be latched hook or an eye or swivel block of wood, frequently a crescent-shaped opening in the door, and a place to perch fairly securely depending on the size of your bottom, and paper to finish up the procedure. A 2-seater, 1 whole child-sized, was the deluxe model. My generation has countless tales to tell of outdoor adventures, being locked in by a sibling, or a less than well thought out maneuver, being accompanied by flies, and even worse, wasps, being scared to make the journey in the dark, but it was summer and there was no other option. Again, not even all of my generation lived with the outdoor biffy. Some of you were town kids. We have stories of outdoor toilets being tipped over on Halloween, creating some smelly scenes. We recall the wonder of store-bought toilet paper replacing torn up newspaper pages, and the wonder of the soft green tissue used to wrap Christmas oranges, as we called them, always dreading them when one needed to resort to catalog pages or smooth paper. Couple of personal stories. I was under the age of 8, had just had mud bath and hair washed, and I needed to use the bathroom, perhaps 30 yards from the house near the tree line. As I was on my way, a swallow, protecting her nest, swooped down and used my head as her outhouse. Needless to say, there were tears and shrieks of horror and a repeat of the hair washing. One of my uncles was a rather strong-willed gentleman. Heck, a lot of them were. But this one decided one summer's Saturday morning that, as was their custom, he and his wonderful wife, would be emptying the outhouse reservoir. He would be dipping and scooping, and all she had to do was carry the buckets away, empty them, and repeat the process. One problem: there was a wedding that afternoon that they were planning to attend. No problem for my uncle. They had time to get it done, bath, and socialize. Did I mention it was a hot summer day? My aunt, bless her soul and spirit, complied, but with all the bathing and additional fragrances, could not completely mask the underlying odor. With that wonderful deep laugh of hers, she told and retold that story for years. So I have a 3-bedroom, 1-bath home, and every day I am thankful for the water running into the home and out. All right, Right in the Center by Ken Waddell. This week it is called Fixing the Problem. Twice a year, we can be assured that food and nutrition shortages are raising their ugly head in communities across Manitoba. Each Christmas season, we are reminded of an ever-increasing need for food and money donations to the local food banks and hamper programs. Now that schools are back in session, we are reminded of an increasing number of students who go to school hungry. To both these situations, I say let's wholeheartedly support them and make sure no one goes hungry. It's just the right thing to do. In a food exporting province, that scenario is a bit ironic, but it's not the supply that is wanting, it's the affordability that seems to be the problem. There is no doubt that food has become much more expensive. However, while we are feeding the needy, it's important that we look at the way family or individual budgets are not meeting the nutritional requirements. Genuine shortages of money may be the problem, but it's not the whole answer. Let's take a look at how these tough situations can be made better. Maybe tough situation is a wrong description. Perhaps tough decisions might be a better response. Making financial decisions can be tough, but maybe not as tough as we think. I believe there are a lot of kids' situations that could be improved by families spending money a bit smarter. How many cups of takeout coffee are being bought, or takeout food for that matter? Is the grocery cart loaded with good food and ingredients to make good food? I truly hope that grocery carts for homes that need to have their kids fed by school programs and food banks don't have bags of dog and cat food in them. Hopefully, there aren't cases of bottled water, pop, cigarettes, and alcohol in the shopping cart either. In addition, take a walk up and down the store shelves and make a list of what we can really use, and it will likely be a lot shorter list than what is available. While sitting around the kitchen table and pondering how to afford more and better food, is there an expensive vacation bill among the various bills and payments due? Are there 2 car payments or 1? Are the chosen vehicles fancier or decked out beyond family needs? On a side note, one of my sons says that he won't take climate change people seriously until there's clothesline being used regularly in every backyard. Using a clothesline would save a significant amount of electricity. But back to the food chain. As we read this column, there are literally tons of apples falling on the ground that are not being made into canned applesauce, pie filling, or juice. There are likely more vegetables being left to rot in the ground than what are being harvested. In towns and cities across Canada, there are hundreds of thousands of 5 to 7 pound packages of meat strutting around our parks, lakes, and fields. They are called Canada geese, and it certainly can't be argued that we are short of Canada geese. The same could be said about white-tailed deer. Autopac could save some collision money by putting a bounty on harvested deer if they are delivered to a food bank. Not everybody can or should raise chickens, but it can be done and is being done by many families. Too bad small towns won't let families have half a dozen laying hens. Oh, sorry, chickens smell bad. If families could get rid of unproductive debt, there would be more money for food purchases, food preparation, and even food production. How about farmyards, huge lawns, and parks? Many of us older farm people can remember when front yards and gardens were small fenced areas, and the horses, cows, sheep, and pigs grazed the areas around a farmyard where we now grow and mow acres of grass. Those wide expanses of grassy areas are pretty, but totally unproductive. So what's the point of all this? First, feed the kids, feed the poor, but for the sake of all of us in our communities, let's look at more economical, practical, and productive ways of saving money, producing food, and increasing economic and food security in all our homes. Faithfully Yours by Neil Stoshine. Tips for Teachers, Part 1. My years in public school concluded on June 30th, 55 years ago. If you find that hard to believe, you're in good company. So do I, but it's the truth. Not believing, it won't change it. I was blessed to have many teachers who made a huge impact on my life, but there were some whose teaching methods and poor enforcement of class discipline made learning difficult. I was glad when the term ended and I no longer had to deal with them. Looking back on those years, I have identified 4 tips I would like to share with today's teachers. I will deal with these one at a time over the next 4 weeks. Here's tip number 1. Encourage curiosity and creativity in your students. You have access to technology that did not exist during my high school years. My largest foray into the use of media as a teaching tool was watching a National Film Board series on Canada at War. I am confident that you will continue to use the many modern teaching aids at your disposal to make learning exciting for everyone. But don't be afraid to encourage independent study when it will benefit your students. In 1969, my grade 12 physics class faced a serious challenge. Our teacher had taught the course several times before. He knew the material, but thanks to a serious health problem that not even he knew about, he could not convey what he knew to our class. Something had to change, but in a small rural school, which was ours, we had very few options. So we decided to ask our school's principal if we could buy copies of the Alberta Correspondence course for grade 12 physics. We would attend classes, complete assignments, and do all that our teacher asked of us, but we would work through the correspondence material on our own time, using it as an additional learning resource. Our principal agreed. We got the material and went to work. When our teacher found out what we were doing, he made us an offer that we couldn't refuse. We could work through the correspondence material during class time. He would follow our progress, grade our assignments, and make sure that we covered all of the course material. And he would be there to help us understand and master material we found hard to comprehend. It was a win-win situation for all of us. Our teacher allowed us to work on our own at our own pace. His oversight ensured that we covered all the material. We ended the year on a high note. Everyone passed the course with unbelievably high marks. We gained a new respect for our teacher, and I hope our teacher gained a new respect for us. The method we chose proved to be the best for all concerned. Today, correspondence courses are delivered online, but a certified teacher is always available to give additional instruction as required. Modern technology is great, but it will be a long time before it replaces the teacher in the classroom, if it ever does. I am all for having computers in classrooms and for allowing students to use their smartphones, tablets, or laptops as study aids. But they need to learn that these items are tools, not toys. They need to learn how to keep these tools from becoming distractions that will affect their performance and productivity once they leave school and enter the workforce. I know of no better way to learn those skills than from a teacher in a classroom. Faith and Family by Tara Cowenhoffen. It's called No Snap Judgments, Please. Wow, 4 boys, you have your hands full. Something I hear almost every time I am in public. Their faces, a mix of fascination and shock. Sometimes there is pity in the mix. Sometimes there's joy and happiness for me, and other times, yet my personal favorite, people ask if we had them all just to get a girl. So I muster up a smile and try to come up with a polite response that will satiate their curiosity about this one moment of my life. So so much of which they don't see and never will. This is the iceberg effect. People see you starting something new that you've never talked about before and are shocked and think you're a completely different person than you were before, or see you road raging in your vehicle and think you're unkind. They see you lose your cool on your kids and they think you're a bad parent, or they see you with your 4 boys and wonder if you know how they are made and if you had that many simply to keep trying to get a different gender. But what they don't see is the hundreds of feet below the surface of the iceberg of your life. They don't see that the choice you didn't share until you made it took countless months, prayers cried out, worrying and wondering and waiting for God to show you the right path for your family. They don't see that maybe you just got off a phone call where you found out your loved one isn't coming home from the hospital before you started driving and were angry. They don't see that your spouse works 2 weeks on and 2 weeks off, and you've been a single parent for 2 weeks and you're at the end of your rope with your fighting kids. They don't see that you've found out the gender of every baby you've had with brief moments of disappointment, only to realize you can't imagine your life with anything but boys and are blessed beyond measure to have them. We see one moment. We see a wave crashing over the surface that is the iceberg of someone's life, and we make a snap judgment based on that one wave. Without knowing the depth of the situation, the weight and strength of the undercurrents of life, threatening to pull us deeper, we see one moment. I want to challenge you with this. The next time you see someone's wave crash, remember all the below the surface experiences you have tread water through to get where you are, and choose in that moment to give grace upon grace as Jesus gave us. All right. Now, celebrating National Trucking Week. Canada moves by truck. That's why National Trucking Week is held each year, to recognize those who work in the trucking industry, whether it's fuel, groceries, equipment, or another of the many products found in day-to-day life and the nation's many professions. There's likely a trucker out there who got it to its destination. Highlights of the semi-truck transportation industry by Casper Warehan. Semi-trucks are a very common sight on the roadways. However, some may not know how much of an impact the trucking industry has on their day-to-day lives, or the industry's impact on the province as a whole. The following details are facts culminated from the Manitoba Trucking Association, which help to paint the picture. Some are from a Manitoba-based perspective, while others provide a look at the industry on a national level. For starters, 5 of Canada's top 5 carriers are based in Manitoba. There are also approximately 475 for-hire trucking companies headquartered in Manitoba. It has been stated before that much of the province moves by truck, but how much? According to the Manitoba Trucking Association, a whopping 95% of goods within Manitoba depends on trucks. On an economical level, for-hire trucking directly and indirectly contributes more than $2 billion to Manitoba's GDP, or gross domestic product. The for-hire trucking carriers themselves have a total gross expenditure impact on Canada as a whole of more than $3.07 billion. With the massive demand for trucking services, the trucking industry directly and indirectly employs approximately 4.6% of the Manitoba labor force. In conjunction with this, did you know that the Manitoba trucking industry operates more than 15,000 power units and 20,000 trailers? Or that Manitoba makes up 3% of the Canadian population, while the Manitoba trucking industry equals out to 5.1% of the Canadian industry. On a national scale, over 268,000 Canadians are truck drivers, which makes it one of the top occupations in the country. According to figures collected by the Manitoba Trucking Association, for every 10 jobs created in the trucking industry, 7 jobs are created elsewhere. For example, suppliers, service industries, and road departments. The typical tractor trailer also raises about $45,000 a year in federal and provincial taxes and fees. When it comes to travel, approximately 400,000 commercial trucks across the Manitoba-US border each year. Additionally, $8.87 billion of Manitoba's exports are to the USA, while $12.46 billion of the province's imports come from the USA. A total of 80% of Manitoba's merchandise trade with the USA is shipped by truck. On a national scale, Canada and the US trade $662 billion in goods and services every year, with more than 75% of the goods and services moving by truck. To learn more about the Manitoba Trucking Association, visit trucking.mb.ca. Not sure if I can get through these. How to Support the Unsung Heroes of Long-Haul Trucking by Joel Asselstein. Across the nation, highways stretch for thousands of miles with long-haul truckers traversing the vast landscape to deliver everything from food to fuel. While these unsung heroes keep the economy moving, a silent crisis is brewing, one that continues to affect their mental health and overall well-being. Long-haul trucking has long been associated with high stress, isolation, and a demanding lifestyle. A recent study by the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health has illuminated the mental health challenges faced by truck drivers, revealing alarming rates of anxiety, depression, and substance abuse among drivers. The nature of the job often requires drivers to spend weeks away from home, leading to feelings of isolation and loneliness. According to the American Trucking Associations, about 70% of truckers feel a sense of separation from their families and communities. This disconnection can breed anxiety and depression. Many drivers do not have a support system in place while on the road. The long hours, limited human contact create a perfect storm for mental health issues. The pressures have driven some long-haul truckers to seek alcohol, prescription drugs, or illicit substances for solace. An estimated 25% of truckers have reported using substances to manage their stress and fatigue. This can lead to a dangerous cycle, impairing judgment and increasing the risk of accidents on the road. Many fear losing their jobs or being seen as weak if they admit they are struggling. Awareness of the mental health crisis among truckers grows. Some companies and organizations are beginning to implement measures to support their drivers. Mental health hotlines, access to counseling services, and peer support programs are being introduced to provide a lifeline for those in need. In a groundbreaking move, several major trucking companies have started to integrate mental health screenings into their wellness programs. recognizing the importance of mental health in promoting safety and productivity. These initiatives aim to create a culture where drivers feel safe discussing their mental health without fear of repercussion. Experts argue that while increased support is essential, systemic changes are necessary to tackle the root causes of mental health issues in the trucking industry. Factors such as unrealistic delivery schedules, inadequate rest facilities, the lack of mental health resources at truck stops contribute to the challenges drivers face. Advocates are calling for industry-wide reforms, including improved working conditions, better pay, and a focus on driver well-being as a priority. We need to change the narrative around trucking, said Decker. These drivers are not just cogs in the machine, they're human beings who deserve support and understanding. As the nation continues to rely on long-haul truckers to deliver goods, it's crucial to address the mental health crisis within this workforce. Only by prioritizing mental well-being can we ensure a healthier future for those who keep our economy moving forward. If you or a loved one is struggling, whether or not they are driving a truck, call Manitoba's 211 and they will help you find local assistance. You are not alone. As a nation that has created its identity for braving harsh weather together, taking in hospitable lands, building thriving cities and businesses, the next frontier is not outward bound, but inward. Check in on your friends and family. Staying safe on the roads starts with you. So that is it this week for the Neepawa Banner and Press reading. So thank you for joining us and hopefully see you next time. So bye for now.